Good afternoon. Welcome to the February 17th Control Board meeting. We'll take a roll call. Or do I do it? You want to?
We can,
Dave's not here. How about that?
yeah, Dave's not.
He's
here.
not on the phone, correct? Just making sure that's clear. Okay.
Not on the phone.
Number one, approve the minutes for the 21st. Any changes? Okay. Is there a second? Second. There's a second. Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Carries. All right, 2A, application for a GH alcoholic beverage license for Audubon in 13th Avenue South. Steve to explain.
So this is a business that has been operating as a restaurant for quite a long time, and now she wants to be able to offer beer and wine with her food offerings. And so applied for the beer and wine GH license and received the application and wrote it to the departments. The police department has done the background check, and it looks pretty clean, I think, doesn't it, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Easy enough.
Yeah, easy enough. This one's pretty straightforward. I wish they were all this easy. So I guess I would move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Motion carries. All right, so 2B has been pulled.
Yep, there's a number of issues with that application that still need to be addressed with building officials, with fire, with health department, police department. And so at this time, what we're proposing is to schedule that for the March 17th meeting. The city commission, we've informed them that the public hearing that was scheduled for Monday, February 22nd, should be moved to a date certain, which would be March 22nd. They'll have their hands full trying to get all of that work done before March 17th, so.
Okay, so no action needs to be taken for that?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, moving on, item 3. Is anyone from Vogel here to speak about this? Looks like not, so we'll cancel number 3.
Well,
Oh.
just a comment, the Vogel asked us to put this on for, if you remember, they had this on in the fall, and we said we'll deal with it kind of later. And now they want some form of action. So we put it on the agenda. Then I received an email this week that said they wouldn't be able to be here, and they requested that we move it to March 17th. So this one, I do think I'm going to ask for a motion to move it to the 17th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. All right, number 4, request for Irish Hospitality doing business as Hennessy's to waive the requirements of 25-15-12 to allow sufficient time to use the license in a new venture. Want to explain that one to me?
So Hennessy's was open and operating for a number of years. They closed. They kept renewing their license to keep it active, but have not made the formal request to the city commission to waive that 25-15-12 where that be active. And so I've been speaking to them and said we really need to make that happen and get this to the city commission. Our city attorney recommended that we bring it here first, see if there's any concerns or objections regarding getting that. So.
Any concerns from the rest of the committee?
Well, I don't know if you want a motion or not, but I could use an explanation of what portion of 25-15-12 you're referring to.
There, I think, I'm looking at Nancy, I think it's 25-15-12A, but I'm not positive. And there's a section in there that says, under these circumstances, the license is considered terminated. And some of those are death of the license holder. Others are, in layman's terms, inactivity of the business. So that's a case here where the business has closed, is no longer using the license, and they would forfeit the license unless they can get a waiver from the city commission. Nancy, am I explain that correctly, would you say?
Yes, so looking at 25-15-12A2, it does provide that when the business shall cease operation, it does say no alcoholic beverages that have occurred in the last 30 consecutive business days. if they haven't sold alcohol within 15 of the consecutive 60 business days or haven't been in operation 180 hours of 60 consecutive business days. So it kind of is a sliding scale, but they're essentially not been in operation, have been closed for a period of time. So the provision provides for asking written requests of the licensee to the commission for good cause shown to extend the license. And so that's what's being presented to you today.
And I know that, my conversations with the with the license holder, that they were planning on relocating, starting a new venture. There's a number of factors that go into being able to do that. Part of that is working with a developer and finding the right space and some of that stuff. And then, COVID also hit too. And so the timing wasn't ideal for them to do something. I don't know if you need any.
Well, I guess I'm just wondering, how, are we putting a time frame on the extension to a specific time frame
Yeah.
for them? Or, I mean, in theory, otherwise they could just open anytime, right?
Yeah, in their request, they're saying June of 2022. So that's going to give them a year and a half more to firm up the deal. Right now, my conversations with him is that he's got 2 potential places that he's working on.
Okay, and so is it a question of, if we don't do this, their license terminates and they would have to reapply for a new license in 2022?
I would guess so, yeah.
I guess
So,
okay.
It's about the fees.
Oh,
yeah, they paid $100,000 plus 115, I think, for this license when they bought it. To have to come back later and have to pay that again.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
What kind of time does it usually have? What's the limit usually?
Normally, when we get these requests, the city commission acts on about a 6-month time frame, and then they have them keep coming back.
Yeah, and it's been kind of an odd couple.
It has been odd.
Hope so.
Yeah, yeah.
I think hopefully we can understand that and allow that to go forward. I don't see any harm in it. We're not holding up another license. We don't limit these licenses, right?
No, well, yeah, these are limited. It's
Oh,
an
it
A-
is?
It's an A license.
Oh, okay. Well, it is
Yep.
holding up then.
Yeah. So, and in fact, this is one that was created. There were unusual circumstances regarding Hennessy's too. So I don't know that it's one that we'd necessarily reissue. We'd maybe decrease the number available if we took this back.
I hope not. Is there a motion for it?
I guess I support the request, understanding, I've probably had more in-depth conversations with them than anybody else, but I would make the motion to allow this.
Is there a second?
Would your motion include June of 22?
I'm fine with that. I know that it really, when you talk to anybody that's in a development stage, it takes a long time to put plans together, to find a space, to do all that, and to think that they're gonna do it in 30 days or 60 days or even 180 days, that it's probably not practical. That's a part of the ordinance. It's probably just a little on the tight side, so.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carries. Number 5, we have a report from the police chief about the Empire Tavern.
Thank you, sir. Just wanted to bring a couple of things to the attention of the board regarding employee issues at the Empire Tavern that we have dealt with over the last 30 days for, I think, really accept and approve, or accept the report, I guess, for future edification. But back on January 23rd, we responded to the Empire Tavern early morning hours for a fight outside, and it turned out that one of the persons involved was an employee who had been working and was subsequently arrested and had a BAC of over 0.4. That person, according to the owner, has since been fired. However, during that same time frame, we also have had several contacts with a different employee, which on different occasions, law enforcement has entered the tavern for different types of investigations. And on 2 occasions, this employee immediately became confrontational and aggressive towards our officers. At one of the instances, He had to be held back by coworkers as he was yelling and becoming aggressive at the officers for reasons unknown. I'm uncertain of the status of that employee with Empire, but I think it's important for the board to be aware of, for whatever reason, this particular tavern seems to have either not appropriate accountability or vetting of their employees, but certainly I wouldn't expect an employee to be charging at our officers as soon as we walk in the establishment. And certainly I wouldn't think we would have an employee at the bar working at an extremely inebriated state. So we'll continue to monitor that situation. We have talked to the owner about it. I'm uncertain at this point of what additional measures he's taken or what the hiring practices are, but I wanted to bring that to your attention. The report's been submitted for your, I guess I would make a motion to accept the report and file.
I'll second.
Okay, receive and file is the motion. Does anyone like to speak on the subject before we take a vote on it, guys? Yes, sir, if you go on this side, please. This side first, thank you.
Jim Swanek, Empire Tavern. The second employee, is the minute I found out about his altercation with the officers, I had him fired immediately. I don't need that kind of, if he has no respect for law enforcement, I know that he had a situation at a house party or something a couple of weeks prior with one of the officers. That's what I was told, but that's not a problem that I need. And I certainly hope that he gets whatever kind of help he needs with his anger issues. And I want to apologize for both of these two. I like to cooperate with the police as much as possible. I know that we're the first line of enforcement with our liquor ordinances. And I feel a bit ashamed after standing up here in front of you and explaining myself. We should be doing a better job than that, and we will in the future. I've been doing this for a very long time, and this is something that I take very seriously. The first gal had worked till about midnight and had not clocked out, but had left. And she had left the facility, went wherever, came back, was milling about outside at 2:15 in the morning or whatever, and got into an argument with the police, and she was arrested, as I understand it. As soon as I found out about that one, she too was fired. I mean, I like to think that we, train our people and do a good job, but, I can't argue that I had two situations right in a row like that, and we will do better. Any questions for me?
Anyone? Thank you. All right, so if we receive and file, that's what happened. Anyone else want to speak? Okay.
Vote.
Right, what happens if it passes, receive and file? Is it going on the consent agenda for the regular meeting? Is it just going in the file? Is it anything happen?
I haven't brought them to the city commission before. We've just added them to their file to, help build. So looking for recommendations, I guess, or?
Yeah, I guess I would suggest keeping it in the file for future reference, and if there are no other issues going forward, then it has obviously less weight at the time of reapplication, I would assume, right? So
Sure.
Fair enough. All right, we have a motion, a second to receive and file. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. All right, number 6, a discussion relating to liquor sales in grocery stores. So this has come up a number of times in our city. You'll think back to the time that Costco came to the Fargo area and asked, about our liquor laws and if their store would fit in Fargo. And the given reason that I've been told is that they didn't come to Fargo, they went to West Fargo instead because they have liquor stores inside their establishments, and our current law is that you cannot do that. So I'm looking for a discussion from this group to tell me or give me your opinion on why this should be in place. Is there a reason that we require a different building for off sale? Is it helping anything? Is it hurting? Is it stopping business? If you are on interstate and you get off on Veterans and you drive south and you look to the right, that's West Fargo. The left is Fargo. So on the west side, on your right, you'll see Costco. You'll see bars and restaurants. You'll see a couple of off sales. You'll see grocery stores that have off sale in it. You'll see a lot of development on that side of the road. On the Fargo side, you'll see things like gas stations and McDonald's and Papa Murphy's. And again, there's nothing wrong with those businesses. We're happy that they're here in Fargo. But you'll see a dramatic decrease in the amount of investment that we're seeing on our side of the road versus West Fargo's side of the road based on this simple law that we are restricting people from opening up a business. And the next item is included in this discussion. We limit off-sale licenses, correct?
Yes,
And are they all out right now? Is there any more available right now?
not currently.
Right, so we're even preempting the whole discussion of off-sale altogether because we have no licenses available. And we're arbitrarily doing those things. We're arbitrarily saying that you must build a separate building. Is it 100 feet away or is it 300 feet away?
100.
100 feet away from your establishment. If you're a grocery store, Cashwise did it. They had to build a whole different building. And that's a very expensive thing to do. And it precludes a lot of business. So I'm looking for a good reason why this should stay in place. If there is no good reason, I think we should remove it. Bad law should be removed, good law should remain. And we should have reasons for what we're doing. So I'm open to discussion, either by this committee or by people in the audience. I know there's people who own off sales in the community here that are listening, and I'd like to hear your thoughts as well.
If you don't mind.
Have at it.
I just think that anytime that we're looking at the liquor laws that we have, the ordinances and stuff, that we have to remember that everything that we've got was put in place for a reason. So when we look at the 100-foot law, 100-foot rule, 100-foot law, the 100-foot rule, that was put in place in the early 70s. At that time,
Were you you were the auditor back then, weren't you?
yeah, not quite. The convenience stores were just becoming popular and coming out. And I think that people probably didn't really understand the nature of convenience stores and how they were going to work and how they're going to operate and that type of thing. And I think there were concerns about being able to fill up on gas and grab a beer and then hop in the car and drive, crack a beer, that type of thing. And so I think that's why, it's a little bit of conjecture on my part, but I'm looking at the timing and the dates and that type of stuff. And that's when that happened, when that was first put in place. There is a part of state law that says that the alcohol needs to be in a separate area, and be, so that it has a separate checkout and some of that type of stuff. And so, for certain, we couldn't, have, wines next to the steaks or something like that. You can't do that. You'd be violating state law. So anyway, I think the first thing to look at is why that law came in place. Now, are the reasons that were put in, that law was established, are they still relevant today? I think that's really your question. And I don't know that the 100-foot rule serves a purpose anymore. And most of, when we look at the last B limited that was issued was to Target. And, they're having a separate entrance, separate part of their building, but it's going to be 100 feet from their other entrances, So businesses have found a way to kind of work around that, or not around it, but have found a way to make it work within their plan. So anyway, the one thing on Cashwise, because I was there when that, or not Cashwise, but Costco when that came, I saw the site plans, and they did have a site plan that would work, and they were fine with that. Now, I heard a different reason why they didn't come here, but I imagine that maybe they told different people different stories of why they didn't locate in Fargo.
Sure.
So,
All right, historical context is important. Thank you.
yeah.
Anyone else? You're newer here. What do you think?
Well, I try not to think too much, but I think it's probably an appropriate discussion for the commission to have. I think that in states that allow it, I guess Wisconsin would be one of them, there's time restrictions on when you can purchase liquor, just like beer, to prevent the impaired driving late at night kind of a situation. So, there's those provisions that could be put in place. They do segregate liquor areas in stores. Some of them even have actual gates that at a certain point that gets closed and separate checkouts. So I don't know that there's a public safety reason to require two buildings that I can think of. So I guess it's, it would be an appropriate discussion for the commission to engage in.
I agree. So Steve, when you say that the state has administrative rules, so so West Fargo just did their home charter? I mean,
So it's North Dakota Century Code 502-02.1 that addresses alcoholic beverages sold in gas stations, grocery stores, and convenience stores. So if you're looking at what West Fargo does, you'd have to ask someone at the state level whether or not that's in compliance with what the intentions were of those laws.
I know a Costco just opened in Bismarck as well, North Bismarck.
Do you know if they have the same layout where it's
I've
just
not, it's so new, I haven't,
a cage in the middle of the store like that?
I haven't been to that facility yet, so can't answer that.
Okay.
That's kind of the reason for the discussion. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here. We can look at two cities and say, is it working or not, right? We can look at West Fargo and say, they have liquor stores inside of their Hornbacher stores, for example, the one on Cheyenne, which is a very nice store, and it works well. There's, to my knowledge, there's been no complaints, there's been no problems, kids aren't running through there, no one's stealing stuff, no one's getting drunk and doing these things that we're all worried about. So it's a tale of two cities, and what I don't want to have happen, and continue to happen to us, is to lose more business because we have a law in the books that no one can defend. If there's good reason for it, I want to hear it, and that's why I want to hear from the industry too. A good reason for it is a bad reason to have it on the book is to say we don't want more competition. That's not a good reason. Protection is not our job. We don't protect industries from themselves. If there's a better widget out there, if there's a better way to do these things, that's what the free market is for. So if there's a better way to sell alcohol than at a bar, unless there's a good reason for it, we shouldn't stand in the way of that. In fact, I posted an article about this on Facebook, and Mandy George, a commissioner in West Fargo, replied, "Let the Commission and Liquor Control Board keep voting this stuff down and let West Fargo continue to benefit." So they're laughing at us, really. We have these laws in place that don't make any sense, and I'm not hearing any good reason. So I'd like to hear a motion to recommend that the City Commission look at this law and change it. I'll make that motion if I can give up the chair, but if someone else wants to make it.
No, I think it's appropriate to have the city commission have the discussion. Obviously, we're not a voting, lawmaking body here. So I would make the motion to have the city commission, look at this issue, I guess. I'm not sure exactly how to frame that, but I do the minutes, so it'll come out sounding a lot better when I get it typed up.
Is there a second?
I'd second.
Okay. And in the notes, however you want to do it, in the minutes, I'm all for changing this law. And I think that it would benefit the city of Fargo, again, in the right ways. More business, more jobs, more revenue. And I think competition is healthy. So however you want to put that in the minutes, put that in there too.
Okay.
All right, any further discussion?
Well, and just to clarify, I'm just talking about the 100-foot rule at this point. I know that that's why it's on a separate item.
And that's fine. We have number 7 coming up. We can do that.
Yep,
at a separate.
we'll talk about that later.
Okay, so it's the 100-foot rule. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
None opposed? Motion carries. Okay, number 7 is the off-sale licenses. So again, we're restricting these things. It's arbitrary. There is no real good reason for it. The best way to restrict these things is to let the market speak. There will not be a liquor store in every corner. West Fargo does not restrict theirs, and they don't have that problem, right? It's basically a microcosm of Fargo over there, and they're doing it way better in my mind. So I would like a recommendation to either add licenses or remove the restriction of these licenses and have that recommendation go to the City Commission. If you guys all agree, I'd take a motion.
So just to make a comment on that before we do a motion, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we used to have no parameters under which we would issue more licenses. And then, I don't know if it's been, a decade ago, we created the parameters where every 10,000 people, the city will issue new licenses. Right now, we're at a point where we're waiting to see what the new population is going to be of Fargo. I've been asked by administration to look at other cities in North Dakota and to compare our license structure with some of them. And I'm maybe halfway through that process. And one of the things that I have discovered is that about half of those different cities, which what I'm looking at is West Fargo, Grand Forks, Devils Lake, Minot, Williston, Bismarck, and Jamestown, I believe. And about half of those have a population-based license structure. So I think the question would be, what we're seeing in those cities is more like a 2,500 to 3,500 population, one license for, the thing that I haven't followed up yet and I haven't been able to get a hold of the proper people is to see are all of your licenses issued? So that's something I need to know. If there's still a bunch of them sitting on the books,
Right.
then they're not in a situation like we are in Fargo where they've all been issued. So the question to me would be, is 10,000, is that the number? Should it be 5? Should it be something else? So anyway, I just wanted to make those comments and let you know that, there's some stuff moving, that might make some more licenses available.
It's a fair question to ask, looking at our numbers and seeing how other people do it, and that limit, you said 2,500, that's pretty significantly less than 10,000, you know what I mean?
Considerable, yeah.
So that's important to look at too. You guys have any comments for that?
Well, some familiarity with this issue, and there's a number of ways that municipalities look at it from a population base. And then there's also a population base with location. Because what happens in some instances, we've, I guess, in prior experience have run across this, where a certain number of licenses are issued by population, and then all the licensees are in one area of the city. And then you have another area of the city saying, hey, we can't get these businesses or these licenses. So I would be in favor of looking at the data that you put together and how that's done and moving that, I guess, forward to the commission for discussion about how they might want to do that. I guess I would also suggest, I know Moorhead's not in North Dakota, but I think because of the close proximity, it would be interesting to know how they, if they restrict or how they issue their licenses, if it's by population, location, et cetera. But that, I guess that'd be my only input on that.
This is gonna be on the agenda Monday for the city commission. So, how much data do you have, and can you put something in there just to give an idea to the commissioners of, I don't need a finished report. I just need, hey, here's what Grand Forks does. Here's what West Fargo does. What do you guys think? You know what I mean? That doesn't have to be all inclusive.
Yeah, I can probably get a few of the cities done, but I don't know that I can get everything done.
Light a fire, man.
By Monday. Light a fire.
Light a fire.
I will say one comment to the chief. Minnesota, North Dakota typically believes in local government control. Minnesota is like 100% opposite that. So the state determines how many licenses you can have, and it is a population-based thing. I don't think that Moorhead is in any danger of running out of licenses. I think that they have enough of a population wiggle room that they could get that done. So.
And I like your input on that. Population and location is important. I mean, look at downtown. There's a lot of bars and restaurants down here. No one in South Fargo is saying there's too many bars and restaurants. If you look at Fargo as a whole, people say, boy, you have a lot of bars and restaurants.
Yeah.
If it's Second Avenue South, there's like 2, you know,
Yeah.
You can only go to a couple of different places. So I think that does make a lot of sense. And also square foot, you know, we can have a large bottle barn, you know, or you can have a Steve's Package Place, you know, and they're the same license, right?
Yeah.
So I think we need to look at that and have a debate of if that's appropriate to have one license for that big of an establishment versus that small of one. So, like I said, I think that this does warrant a strong discussion. I wanted this board to have a heads up on it in case there were pitfalls or ideas that I wasn't thinking of in order to bring this up to the city commission. So, all right, I'll take a motion on item number 7 if anyone wants to make one.
I guess I would motion in support of putting together a report that Mr. Sprague is working on and submitting it to the board or to the commission for review or discussion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
It's fine.
Well, you're gonna do it now, so.
Yeah, right.
All right, other business. Did you have something?
Sorry. One other issue that recently came to our attention at the police department, and these reports will be forthcoming to the board, I think for you to look at, I guess, for the next meeting to potentially accept and file. But we have had some issues at the African nightclub over last weekend, early morning hours. There were a couple of significant violations that we are referring to the city attorney's office for potential issuance of violations, including, well, I'll just let it stand like that. And I will forward the reports to the board so that you can review these. But as we've discussed previously, we had some enforcement issues there with mask mandates, although they did come into compliance at the end. But this issue involves not only disturbances in the parking lot, but as we went there to investigate, then uncovered additional liquor law violations that I think would be considered significant in terms of a licensed premise, after-hour sales, things of that nature. So I just wanted to, just a heads up, and the reports are forthcoming.
Yeah, so next meeting, is that what you're suggesting? We'll have something and we'll have action
Yes.
suggested by you?
Yes.
Okay. Any further comment on that? Any other business? Motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. We're adjourned.